Hello, CBS. Well, I really, really miss you guys. And for the Chag, for Sukkot who's coming, I wanted to share with you some thoughts. Well, how many times we saw a magician make kind of magic and we wanted to know just how it works. What is the secret behind the magic? Well, most of the time, while we are figuring it out, or we worked hard, or we looked a lot in the internet, and we found the trick, right? We found how it works. So this trick is kind of lose his magic. So today I wanted to speak with you about halachic trick, halachic magic. And hopefully, maybe, while we here will try to see how the magic works, maybe it will make it a little more interesting, but I'm not sure. But let's try. I don't know if how many of you had been in Jerusalem in the past couple of years in Sukkot. Well, most of the restaurants in the center of the town, they changed their standard Sukkot with din lavud, this thing. Like they don't have a fabric in all the edges. They have just those strings or something that marks the mechitza, the wall. And it's quite a stranger because Sukkah was supposed to be dirat arai, a temporary tenement. So if it's kind of a tenement, it's supposed to be with walls, even if they're only from fabric, and a ceiling, schach. But those strings, in some kind of sense, they are like halachic magic or halachic trick that make even a structure without walls to one that is actually like a built one, like a full wall. So what are those wires and what is this lavud trick? So let's jump a little bit to understand this halacha. So two things. The first one is that a wall of a sukkah need to be at least 10 tfachim. This is one tefach, something like 3.14 inch. I checked it. And so the height of a wall of a sukkah needs to be something around 31, 32 inch. Even if it's not getting to the ceiling, the moment that it have like this wall from the ground, 31.5 inch, it's considered a mechitza. It's considered a wall. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that this wall could be with holes also. That's okay, unless the hole is not more than 3 tfachim, like 3.5 inch. It's interesting because it means that the halachic definition of a wall is different than how we define a wall. Halachically, a wall can have a gap of 3 tfachim, this thing, this is tefach from here to there, and still be valid. This based on the concept that's called lavud. Lavud means that we consider any gap of less than 3 tfachim and through it's connected. So because of that, as you see here in my beautiful shot, so even if there is a string and it's less than 3 tfachim from each other, it makes it halachically wise like it's a full wall. So even if it's not a wall, it's just kind of a symbol or a mark, it works. That's maybe like a little, I don't know, math and a little weird, but in the simple way, it means that the walls of the sukkah could be even just from strings, as we saw here. And even if it's a wall, it's part of the mechitza. You can think about it as kids who play soccer, like the European or the Israeli soccer. They need gates, right, for the ball. But most of the kids don't have real gates in their house. So what they do, they just put like 2 chairs or 2 rocks and it symbolizes the gate. So in some sense, those are this lavud, those are those strings, that they are symbolizing that we have here a mechitza, we have here a wall. It's interesting because you can only mark the wall even if you don't have a real wall. And it's an philosophic halachic idea that you can mark a mechitza, even if it's not doing the work of mechitza. It's not separating from things. And that's halacha leMoshe Sinai. It's interesting to think also about mechitza in shul, that's supposed to separate man and woman, but maybe that we'll speak about it other time. But if we will think just a moment about this idea, this halachic idea that stands behind this lavud, this extension, it's the idea that even in a place that we need a mechitza, we need a wall, you can just mark it for that it will be clear that here was supposed to be a wall. Of course, if you speak the halachic language, or in more precise words, here there is a mechitza, even if in the reality we don't have it. It's only a symbol. It's enough, and it's actually as it was a wall, as it was a mechitza. There is here something that mark the separation between outside and inside, outside the sukkah and inside the sukkah, even if it's not doing the mechitza work, like the separation work between inside and outside. It's a little bit like taute de satre, like oxymoron, because it's supposed to be here something that will separate between one thing and another, but instead those strings, or I don't know, several string or several boards could change, even just in the halachic sense, to one thing, to a whole wall. And while I'm thinking about those laws of lavud that are strange, but it's interesting to think about them through the eyes of today, of a lot of separation that we have in our world now with the COVID in our days, on all the estrangement because of the corona. So in our life today, we experience a need for separation, for mechitza, right? Because at a distance, we must keep from friends and family, the mask, the inability to hug or even to shake hands. So we have a lot of mechitzot. We have a lot of things that make us to be far away, to be separate from our loved ones, from our community. And in this reality, we are trying to build some kind of closeness without our regular tools. Maybe the COVID handshake, or how you build a community in such a different way. We need to think so out of the box, right? Because how you build and have a community without the synagogue space, without the kiddush, without the sermons, without the beloved mingling that is so important in a community life, and all the essence of those separations are that eventually we can go back together. And if we will keep like a good distance, and if everyone will keep a good distance, we will be able, hopefully, Be'ezrat Hashem, to be united and to go back again to our closeness, to the ideal reality, the one with the kiddush, the chunt, and the lovingness of community who sits together. So in our times, ha'arvut ha'adadit, the solidarity, and the really sincere concern to each other now is to be far away, is to being apart, because we want eventually to come back close together. While I'm thinking about this, I thought that from my experience, the prayers out of the regular synagogue, also here in the kibbutz, the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur were outdoor tefillot. And in some sense, they were also just a symbol to what we used to the regular tefillot, because they were shortened here, it's very hot here. So they were shortened and everyone sat separate without this feeling that we have usually in the holidays, that everyone is singing together and you hear hundreds of voices together in the synagogue. So it wasn't that, although here in Israel, they let you sing. Just, it's different when people are apart, outdoor. And from the other side, there was such closeness. It was a point of beautiful point to see the community, because a lot of people needed to work hard at those tefillot, those prayers will work, because you can't do that at all the kibbutz, all the community can be together. So you need to do a lot of minyanim, a lot of people who were chazanim that they weren't used to. And probably, I believe that also in Providence, in CBS, you needed a lot of work to make this beautiful and amazing tefillah that eventually were. So this need to find out of the box and new ways to be able to pray together, even if you need to sometimes to say goodbye or goodbye for now, for the beautiful songs that we used to, and to work hard that we could do the effort to make those tefillot. It actually made kind of intimacy, big intimacy in the community, because you need to work harder. It's not the regular thing that you just go to shul and experience the prayer. And a lot of people worked with that, and this, so the fact that we need to be apart, the fact that we need to make something new actually got closer for a lot of people, made other people closer to the community. And maybe when we're approaching today, Chag Sukkot, I want to wish us all together the secret, the magic of the lavud, this weird thing of the sukkah, because I think it kind of symbolizes the ability to far away, just to mark our love, without actually the ability to show it to our friends. But I hope that this marking of being apart will show and expose our really connection to one each other, to our big, beautiful, strong community, even if now we have spaces between us. And from my very big distance, but feeling very close and love to all of you, I just want to wish you Chag Sukkot Sameach. Chag Sameach.